May I request Professor Sasmita Samanta to kindly address the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Very good morning to one and all present here. Our Honorable Founder of KIIT and KIIT, Professor Dr. Sasmita Samanta, respected Vice Chancellor of Gangadhar Meher University, Sambalpur, Professor Dr. N. Nagaraju, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kalikot University, Professor Dr. Prafulla Kumar Mahanti, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sri Jagannath Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Puri, Professor Dr. Harihar Hota, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Odisha Open University, Professor Dr. Arka Kumar Das Mahapatra, Honorable Vice Chancellor of KIIT University, Professor Deepak Kumar Behera, our respected Director of School of Social, Financial and Human Sciences, Professor Jayant Kumar Parida, all the honorable principals of different colleges of Odisha, honorable faculties, the head of Quality Assurance Department and all other dignitaries present here in this gathering. I think since 2020 July, August, September, by that time, since then until now, lots of motivation, enthusiasm, aspirations have been created in the field of education. And each one of the person connected to education, we all are aspiring that something we had aspired for, something we had dreamed for, perhaps it is coming to the purview of education, and we'll be getting a strong system, we'll be getting strong tools with ourselves to transform the world, for which each one of us are very much passionate, committed, and determined to do in our life. After the release of a national education policy, lots of such thoughts and such, I can say that aspirations were created everywhere across the country. And we had seen that even the developed countries like US, Europe, or Australia, Japan, where normally this country is sending the trained technical manpower, those countries also very much excited for this. I had discussed with around more than 10-15 Vice Chancellor in United Kingdom. After the release of this national education policy, even the heads of the departments and faculties, even in National University of Singapore and some faculties in the universities of USA, particularly the University of Maryland, University of Indiana, and those places we had seen that some type of expectation or hopes were created from the education system of this country. Now today, the Indian education system not only respected everywhere, but the people are having lots of expectation from this education system. The number one reason is that we are sending number of youth across the world for higher education. Second is that we are sending number of youth across the world as the technical manpower. It can be engineering, it can be technology, it can be science, and also in medicine. Very recently I visited UK and I found that perhaps that country is being dominated by the doctors of this state. Of course, doctors of India, but the doctors of Odisha also. Anyone we talk about Odisha, Bhubaneswar, they say that your state is having good doctors. So that type of identity we have created in the globe, and that is being done. And if we come and keenly analyze the national education policy, one very strong, powerful vision this national education policy is having for all of us, that it emphasizes on relevant education and relevant research. Very recently, before 1 month, while our Honorable Minister of Education spoke about that each one of the institution will be autonomous institution, they will be making their own curriculum. At that point of time, perhaps we all were discussing that whether it's possible. 50,000 autonomous institutions, 50,000 types of curriculum, why not? If it is possible in USA, if it is possible in UK, if it is possible in Europe, why we cannot judiciously utilize that autonomy and that empowerment by all of us? Perhaps each one of the leaders established in each one of the academic institutions in this country today, they are self-sufficient to make their own curriculum, to understand their target audience. The students are coming to study there, and the aspiration, hopes, and dream of the students of that institution, what really they want to do, and to train them, to educate them to become successful in this globe. So that level of autonomy expectations is slowly coming to the shoulders of all the academic leaders in this country. So at that point of time, 2-3 things matters a lot. How much we are informed, how much resources we are having. Resources will be playing a very key role if this national education policy is being implemented in toto. Recently I was in a discussion where the head of Education Council of Karnataka, they said that they have adopted national education policy in toto. In Madhya Pradesh, I discussed with one faculty, of course, of commerce who was in an ARC visit with me to one institution in Bangalore. He was also saying that MP has adopted national education policy in toto. And if that is being followed in toto, then resources will be playing a very key role with us. Not only the physical resources, maybe after this COVID-19, we all have realized that physical resources are having their own importance in education, but apart from the physical resources, 2 things are playing much more importance in the today's education system. That is human resources. Second one is intellectual resources that the institution is having. So with that objective, we had started with this World Leadership Academy. I attended one World Conference of Times Higher Education. There, I was a speaker there. And the Vice President of Elsevier, we all talk about Scopus. We all talk about the publications. While we talk about publication, always Elsevier name comes to us. So the Vice President of Elsevier was managing that event. He was the anchor in that event. So while discussing with him about publications, then how Indian institutions are coming up, how world institutions are coming up in publication, so he was discussing about the crux in publication, how good publications can be made, how the indexing is happening. So Elsevier is responsible for the Scopus indexing. Of course, the UGC CARE has started one indexing. So I thought if any institution born in USA, born in United Kingdom, they can create a global brand which is acceptable to all, then why we can't start in this country? So with that in my mind, I discussed with our honorable founder, I discussed with Professor Pareda and also many faculties around the globe. And after that, we started to establish World Leadership Academy, where we can index the publications. Of course, today academia research get many platforms are there, but we wanted to reach to the grassroots level, to understand the grassroots level research aspiration. And if sometimes we are not able to publish because of the language, because of discoordination between our thoughts and writings, then how we can help them? So we wanted to bring that culture into the grassroots level. So I discussed with many publishers, the Elsevier, Wiley, then we discussed with the people in EBSCO, different platforms like EBSCO, we discussed with many like JGATE, many people, those who are associated in publication industries. So while discussing with them and seeing their statistics, I found that most of those platforms And most of those publishers are confined to only developed institutions, those who can afford for this. Today we say that we are the maximum subscribers of e-resources of this country. KIIT invests around 10 to 12 crores rupees every year for getting access to the e-resources, bringing it to our faculty members. And if we see the utility survey of this e-resources, we find maybe maximum we can reach up to 10%, because each one of the platforms are having many books. Maybe those courses are not offered here, or the faculties of my universities are not engaged in those research activities. So while for the Paramore scheme, I went and interacted with the faculty members of different institutions of the state, I found that the knowledge and orientation to get connected with the intellectual resources, sometimes it is missing because you are not aware of that. So I started discussing with many publishers, and I wanted to develop a platform where particularly the faculty members of the government institution, the autonomous institution, those who are working, how they can be connected to that. So after lots of discussion, I thought that if you are investing in one place, maybe everybody will be benefited out of that. And of course, today in the state, we all are proud of many things. We are saying we are the sports capital. We are saying we are the education. This is the place for the education capital. We are doing now, slowly, we are doing good things, and many aspects, like in COVID management, we did well. While discussing in many forums, everybody said that your chief minister is doing good, your state is doing good, your people are humble and working well. So I thought that why not in education? Why this place will not be good in education? Because while I go to Andhra, or I go to South, I find the passion and commitment seen in the teachers or the academicians of the state, that is always missing in South. Because the reasons are many. Because here in our grooming process, it is said that knowledge is the esteem. The highest esteem, the knowledge should be taken. And in our grooming process, we say that if you are not reading well, then maybe we'll be missing something, missing everything in our life. So with that, and maybe those people, those states are very well off, and the students are having some backup plan if they are not studying well. But here we cannot think anything beyond education. So with that objective, I started this World Leadership Academy. Second is to tap the talent. If we see many publication platforms, they are only publishing the publications, the paper. But I realized that being connected to education, since school up to the university, the students are engaged in many research activities. They do projects, they write the projects, they present it in their examination, and after that, after 1 year, 2 years, that project is missed out. That knowledge, that effort is missed out. So I wanted to develop one platform where the projects can be stored. We are giving the free space for the students to upload their projects. Of course, we are doing the Turnitin check. We are having the sufficient academicians with us. We are having sufficient tools with us for the plagiarism check. And after that, that project is being indexed, and student is being informed about that indexing. As such, that can be the property of this nation. Wherever the effort is being put, that should be preserved. It is the responsibility of each one of us, and that should come to the people. So with that objective, this World Leadership Academy has been created in the state. As such, the knowledge of this state, knowledge of this country, the efforts of the state, efforts of the youngsters of the state can be preserved. So that sort of platform has been created. Till now, it's totally free of cost. Anyone is doing any project in the university, they can upload. It can be indexed. They can be informed. And that indexing will be, and that cloud space is totally free of cost. That is the second objective. Third is that, like, our objective is that we want to create a brand like Elsevier, like Wiley. Why always the international brands? Why in this country such publication brands, the quality publication brands cannot be created? So now we have tied up with 10 publishers, those who will be speaking to you after this session of the Vice Chancellors are over on this seminar. And they will be talking about the platforms they are giving through World Leadership Academy, free of cost. They are giving us on payment, but World Leadership Academy has decided to give one user, one platform to each one of the college at free of cost. You can access to not only to the open access journals, you can access even to all the paid journals. You can have the access to all the paid journals like EBSCO, JGATE, and many more Scopus. Those databases you can have the free access now. For next 2 years, it is guaranteed. After that, we shall see if something can be done. So that's the objective of this meeting. After the seminar, that will be done by the publishers. The publishers will be there on online, and they will be talking about that. So coming to the relevant education, as I said that this national education policy focuses on relevant education. For that, autonomy is being given to the institution. I thought that let's each one of us understand what really relevant is. Suppose being a faculty in management, if I say that human resource management, we are talking about the theories of motivation, theories of leadership, we are talking about management, we are talking about functions, roles, and all those things, then what really relevance, from what really relevant is, and from where this relevance comes. Today, if we see the higher education system in the way it is there, it is a little bit fragmented. We say that like IITs are only for technology, AIMS are for medicine. Our state universities and central universities are focused on basic sciences and social sciences, commerce, those courses, and all IIMs are focused for management education. So it is in the fragmented stage. If we take, we always take the example of all international universities. Any top universities we take into example, it can be Harvard, Stanford, Cambridge, Oxford. There the education system is very holistic. All educations are there in one campus and it's together. It's not that any education is there, any studies are there, those who are not in their university portfolio. Even recently I visited Oxford, I found the Center for Indian Studies. We are very happy for that. And Center for Hindu Studies, we are much happier than that. We thought that perhaps this country, this university is having a great vision to integrate the base, knowledge base in this world. So in that way, our education system is very fragmented and there is no system in place to coordinate the effort. We find that the literacy, the language, numeracy, the mathematics, 2 subjects have been given the utmost importance here. Anyone is coming to education system, even at the age of 3, they will be having autonomy to select the language they want to learn. The teachers will select the language they want to teach their own students. So in that way, the language takes its own importance. Second is coming to the numeracy. If we see the national education policy go through the school education, particularly the primary education, secondary education, we find that the lots of focus is there how numeracy education or mathematics education can take the predominant role. Then the second is that this national education policy, the vision is that how to re-engineer our education system to make it more and more relevant, to bring it to the ground, to bring it to the world that can be the relevant to the time, relevant to the society, relevant to the people, relevant to the economy. So we had, while going through that policy, we had written down few strategies the higher education system focuses on. Of course, we have studied also the school education system, but here all the people are targeted for higher education system. So these are the strategies where we see that multidisciplinary education, internationalization, universalization of education. If I say in one word, it focuses on inclusivity, it focuses on accessibility, it focuses on excellency, it focuses on universalization. So for all those things, for inclusivity, for accessibility, for excellency, and for universalization of Indian education system, I hope that the processes, the systems, the key energy, the power required in our process, perhaps it is coming to us in many forums we will be discussing, and coming to the goals of the education, national education policy, we have identified 20 goals, and those goals are also roaming around that how quality, opportunities, then equipping the students with knowledge, skill, and help them how the knowledge, skill can be applied, which can be converted to wisdom. When we talk about relevant education, we think that it should be socially relevant, it should be culturally relevant, and employment relevant. And how to bring that relevance to the system? So we are having only one tool, one thing in our hand, that is the curriculum, to bring the relevance into the curriculum. So we all are listening that UGC has given 20% freedom to each one of the college, each one of the institution to modify our curriculum. Why that 20% freedom? That 20% freedom is to bring the relevance into the academics. Suppose somebody is there in Sambapur. I attended one meeting in Telangana where their higher education chairman was organizing one event before 3 years. This year also they called me on 17th, but I could not attend. So what they have done, they have geographically divided their state according to their GDP, according to their geographical agricultural base, geographical industrial base, and accordingly they are allotting the seats to different institutions. And accordingly they are requesting the principals of the institution to include some of the courses, those who are regionally, nationally, and internationally relevant. Before 3 years, if anyone is there in commerce, I was there for restructuring of the commerce and management syllabus. So there what they did, they brought AI in commerce, they brought business analytics, they brought robotics in commerce, how robotics principle can be applied in commerce. So those 3 subjects they brought into the purview of the commerce education in the state. By taking in the stock of the aspiration of the students, what really they want to do, they made the survey that this many percentage of the students, they want to come to Hyderabad, want to work in the software industry or knowledge industry. So they thought that business analytics should be the part of that curriculum. They found that those many students, those many percentages of the students, they want to involve in the mini family business in their place itself. So they wanted to bring different perspective into the curriculum, starting from the agriculture, the cottage industries, and also the process of production and marketing. What mostly we miss today while we talk about the family industries, why people are leaving the family business and joining different corporates, that they wanted to bring into the purview. So in that way, the employment relevant we want to bring. And social and cultural relevance, we always talk about today's kids, they are not connected to the culture, our culture. So where there is the culture in our grooming process. If you say that academic institutions are solely responsible today because they in-houses the students from age 3 to age 23, 20 years. Within the age of 23 years, 20 years they are in the academic institution. Where is the process that we are teaching them culture? Where is the process we are teaching them what really the society wants? So the social cultural blending, social cultural aspirations to bring it to the curriculum, that's very much important today. So second one is responsive pedagogy. Once the curriculum is fixed, we have brought the regional, national, international relevance into our pedagogy judiciously by discussing, by focusing on the aspiration of the target audience, then come to the responsive pedagogy, how we have made our delivery plan. Wow, we are delivering the same subject to the target audience, as such the aspiration of each one of the student today is being fulfilled. Because if I teach 60 students in a class, I know that today the students are not committed for a particular organization. They are not committed for a particular profession. They are not committed for a particular set of life for another 30 to 40 years. Anyone is sitting in the class today, they only plan for 2 to 3 years. After 3 years, their plan changes. Today, they may join the public sector. Tomorrow, they may have the enterprises of their own. After 3 years, they want to have the enterprise in US or UK. That sort of dream, that sort of aspirations they are having in the class itself. So with that aspiration, how we can match to that? What is the level of expectation? So accordingly, we have to design the pedagogy to be very responsive to their aspiration. Next comes to the creative outcomes. How much creativity? The flexibility, innovative thoughts we are bringing while we are delivering the subject. What is the openness there? How many experiments, how many assignments, how many case studies we are designing as the students can put their thoughts, put their creativity to solve it, whether we are doing that. How much we are bringing it into the students. And even we talk about relevance, whether we are giving some case studies related to regional or social relevance or cultural relevance to the students. So that question slowly should come to the mind of the teacher while I teach the students itself. Then critical thinking and derived solutions. We all are discussing about critical thinking in many ways, particularly the faculty, those who teach mathematics, statistics, we always talk about critical thinking. What is the aspect of critical thinking? How much thoughts the student has to give to solve a problem. But critical thinking is very much essential in the field of social science also, or is it required in science and mathematics. In social science also today, when we grow in technology, I think that technology is a tool to solve an issue, to solve a social problem. But social science is the core of knowledge, which provides us the opportunities to understand the human being, to understand the society, to understand the environment. Be empathetic for that. And once we are empathetic, we have understood science, technology, they provide us the processes, the ways how to solve the problem. Then how our methodology is evolutionary. In KIIT, we are having a system of interacting with the students in every semester, particularly the vice chancellors, the registrar, the founder, all big professors. We call the students in every 6 months to discuss with them that what is their dream, what is their aspiration, what they want to do in their life. And if they are interested to do something in their life, then whether our system, our curriculum, our pedagogy is helping them. If not, what else they expect. So after discussing with them, since last 5 years, we have developed a very diverse, open curriculum. I say if anyone is doing engineering, anyone is doing science, anyone is doing commerce, they have to take 40% of the subject from the department in undergraduate level. And other 60%, that they should take from humanities, management, social science, law, medicine, wherever their interest lies. Of course, the requirement is there, like 15% from humanities and management, 20% from allied branches of knowledge, 30% from this place. So in that way, it is judiciously managed. So bringing a diverse curriculum to the students, and while we bring diverse curriculum, while we bring openness in the system, of course, we open the door for the challenges. We give the opportunity to the students to challenge ourselves. Why this? Why not that? Why that? Why not this? So in that way, we should equip ourselves that how we can match to their aspiration, how we can match to those challenges, whether we are having sufficient solution with us for that. Then, Ajay, you are saying that today perhaps, while we talk with even the leaders of big industries, like the people in Deloitte, Accenture, we talk about all big MNCs, even the directors of all IITs, IIMs, central universities, vice chancellor or state universities, vice chancellor, we find today none of the institutions, industries today are equipped enough with all the resources to match with the aspiration of the people. Previously, what was happening, we are being taught that whenever you are taught a subject, please understand that to which organization you are going. Being a person from commerce and management, that was explained to us that align your own dreams to the requirement of the industry, as such you can get a good job. You can be employable. But now it has just become reverse. Each one of the organization and industry today, they are thinking that how they will be making their system diverse, flexible, how they will be making the judicious alignment between their core and the flex. As such, any one of the youngsters of this generation, from any country, from any state, any institution in the globe, they can come, they can connect themselves, their dreams can be fulfilled, and the organizational goal can be achieved. So in that way, all the industries and institutions are planning. So there, as I said that the resources, for that, resources of none of the institutions are sufficient enough to cater to the need of the youngsters today. So it has become mandatory for each one of us to collaborate. If today 400 institutions are there from state of Odisha and KIIT, of course we are having good laboratories, we are having equipments, we are having good community engagement, then also we are having the dearth of the processes, the dearth of the system, how we can connect to each one of the village, how we can understand the aspiration of each one of the citizen of the state. We can understand the aspiration of each one of the citizen of this country, where the principals of each one of the college can give us the input for which we are signing the MOUs with all the local colleges. As such, while we all were discussing with different principals for this accreditation process, while we are discussing about collaboration, this collaboration is not only confined to the collaboration with the international universities. We can also collaborate with each other to use our laboratories, to get engaged with different faculty members and work together. So for optimum utilization of the resources in the globe and to meet with the aspiration of this generation, not only the students of your college or my university or any other university, the collaboration will play a very great role. Even we are seeing that now industries are coming closer. All the public authorities are coming closer. Today, while we talk about the world ranking, Minister of Education, Secretary of Education, UGC Chairman, AICT Chairman, all of them are holding the meetings of all the top 100 institutions in this country, that how we can improve in the world higher education ranking. So in that way, we all are coming together to make our own place, to, I can say that, to bring our old legacy, that we are the best in knowledge, that this is the place for knowledge creation, this is the place for knowledge dissemination. So that legacy we want to bring in place, so you all have to work together. So we thought, why not we start that culture from the state itself, to come together, collaborate with each other, understand our state, understand our place, make our education system relevant, and offer it to this generation as such they can be unique in this globe. So how this relevant education can be developed? Some of the strategies what I thought that first is that each one of the institutions should be strongly connected to the community, strongly connected to the society. I visited one of the university in USA, that was University of Nebraska. I visited in 2016. So while we discussed with them, and as we went for a leadership program there for 4 weeks, they were teaching us the leadership theories, normally what I had learned in my college time. So I said that while we teach about leadership theories, mostly we are talking about the traditional theories. Why don't you talk about the theories, the contemporary theories today we are talking about, the central leadership or participative leadership, why not that? Then they said that this university is working on central leadership since last 2 years. We have adopted 3 towns. They are the villages they call as the town. And there we have implemented this central leadership policy. And now slowly we are getting the feedback from the people that how the central leadership is effective. And once the research outcome is coming to our hand, and we are sure about the effectiveness of this leadership theory, then only we can bring it to the classroom. Whether you are having any relevant data with yourself about this theory, please bring it to the table. But I said that now leadership theory, the central leadership is there in the books, so we follow the books and we teach. They said that, but in this country, it does not happen like this. So it should be done in this way. So first, I thought that being connected to the communities should be the first first step for any academic institution to make its curriculum relevant. And second is that social and human inputs. How to bring the input, bringing the feedback from them, getting engaged, working with them, bringing the feedback either in the form of experience or in the form of data or in the form of aspirations, dreams, hopes in our understanding. In any way, those inputs should come to the system, or we also try to understand that. Third one is, after getting the data, then consolidating the data, experimentation on that, then we can decide about reflection, how we can reflect to the world, how we can reflect our education system to the world. And after the assimilation and creation of knowledge, and while the knowledge is experimented, then when the data is experimented, when the inputs are experimented, then knowledge is created. And for that, the three factors also matter a lot: environment, people, and time. How the environment is today. Yesterday we are discussing with a faculty from Johns Hopkins University. He is from Public Health Department. He was discussing about that how the behavior, the connection of the indigenous people in the state, their connectivity with the media, their hopes, their experience with different policies, communication policies of this country, social media of this country, in the way it is being reflected, in the way it is being communicated, how can we grab this? And what they talk about the climate change, how they talk about the environmental change, and what is the perspective of the indigenous people in climate change and the environmental change, and how they reflect on that, how they want to reflect on that. So he wanted to jointly develop a proposal as such Johns Hopkins and KIIT can come together, understanding the indigenous people communication perspective in climate change. So in that way, people are coming and want to study. So that perspective, we are very close to that. We are very close to the system. We are very close to those community, indigenous community. So how we can bring that to the system? So people make a very, with environment, people also make a very important role, an important role while we make the curriculum. And time, how much it is relevance to the time, because we all are listening about disruptions. Many disruptions are happening in technology. This COVID-19 made whole disruptions in the globe. We are out of the college, out of the institutions, then also we taught the people. We devised a mechanism, we evolved with the time. That how, when we are, our passion, our commitment was so high. I will always advocate in all the forums today that always everybody in this country says the teachers are very much, I can say that strong, they are not at all flexible, they are not at all adaptable. I think this COVID-19 has proved that perhaps all the teachers, starting from the primary level up to the universities, each one of the teachers in this country are most adaptable people. Those who, the education industry was the most adapted in the industries after this COVID-19, we all have proved. We adapted, we started teaching online only after 10-15 days. It can be WhatsApp, it can be Zoom, it can be Google Meet, but we adapted and we taught to such a large mass, 30 crore students in the academic institutions of this country at one point of time. Teaching 30 crores population by those teachers. Salutation to all the teachers that we adopted. That means this is the most flexible system, because every day we are trying to connect with the youngsters, the generations, and trying to evolve with their aspirations, with the hopes. Maybe that adaptability was there, is there. We don't recognize it, but now this COVID-19 has recognized that. So coming to the different elements of relevant education, I was going through the books of John Dewey. Normally, while we talk about education, we talk about John Dewey, who said that education is not the part of life, this is the life itself. In his core book, he is having a core book, where he has focused mostly on naturalism. How in education system, he says that in education system, environment or the world is the source of knowledge. That's the source of knowledge. People derive the knowledge from there. They equip themselves, and while they equip themselves, they connect to the society, they connect to their faith, they connect to their belief through socialism and spiritualism concept, and they use their own autonomy, freedom, democracy, and they develop the democratic thoughts for creation of new knowledge. That's the whole process how a person learns. So while I was going through his book of education, so these elements came to my mind, that only through relevant education, the education which is based on the concept of social, cultural, and time relevance, we can bring into the principle of naturalism, humanism, socialism, spiritualism, democracy, and human dignity into the place. At last, if democracy is there, always will be protecting the human dignity, which is I can say that objective of the establishment of this globe. Then 7 outcomes we want to bring into the education today while we talk about the new education policy, while we talk about good education system. I was delivering a lecture only on curiosity, how the curiosity of the student can be maintained in 2 hours talk in one teacher's, one UGC HRDC and also another one international forum, that how curiosity makes the great role in the life of a child, in the life of a human being, and how it motivates us to grow. So the first outcome, we understand that how that curiosity can be maintained. Normally, I give this example in many places. The Steve Work, who was the technological person in Apple with Steve Jobs, he had developed all the technology. Steve Jobs was responsible for business. Steve Work was responsible for development of technology in Apple. So he had mentioned that in Indian education system, it is very structured, very disciplined. It is the requirement of that country. It's because they are having a large population. They are fulfilling the requirement of millions of the students, millions of the youngsters of that country. But through that structure, very structured, very systematic education process, the children are being very much structured. Their thoughts are getting structured through the education system while they are going through their journey of 15 years and 20 years. So while we talk about out-of-the-box thoughts, while we talk about innovations, they are missing somewhere. So each one of us have to think that how to bring the openness as the curiosity of the students can be maintained. So second one is timely, how the education can be relevant to the time. If I say that disruptions happens in every 3 months, how can I say that this 3 months, the disruptions in 3 months, whatever is happening, the child can evolve with that, because there is no other system, technology, processes, governance in place which works faster than the brain. How can we tune the brain as such that can evolve with the time much faster than the technology, processes, system gets obsolete or disrupted in this globe? And disruptions always, if it is being by the mind, then always those kids can be ahead of that. Then systematic. Fourth one is connectedness, enthusiastic, healthy, and ethical. John Padasar is saying your time is over, now you should finish. Of course, we all are focusing on outcomes. All of us are aware about that. Then how to designing the effective, relevant education system by studying the learner's background. From the background they come. What are the effectiveness indicators we should take for the studies of the background? That can be the outcomes we are aiming at. What is the intrinsic motivation inside? What is the satisfaction level, success index, and how it is helping for how much new knowledge is being created in any institution itself. And for that, the 5 things make the education system relevance, as I said already, about curriculum, pedagogy, resources, technology, and the target audience, what they want to do. And the accomplishment we all aim in any academic institutions are to protect the environment, which comes in the first place today, development of a sensible society, the children, students, those who are coming out through this education process, they should be sensible enough to understand the society, empathetic enough to understand the need of the people. Then third is the capable to create the opportunities. One is they should be sufficient enough to create opportunities for others, should have sufficient capability to grab the opportunity also. Then lifelong learning, we are listening always how they can be taught to continue the learning, confidence to establish their own thoughts, greater happiness quotient with them. Then the important initiatives for this paradigm shifts can be teachers training, that is the major part of this national education policy, the cultural changes, shift in social expectations, connecting the land and laboratories of knowledge together, as such there can be two-way communication between them, creation of opportunities in different levels and communicating to the stakeholders, development of process for effective engagement. So for the sustainable education, as we are talking about sustainable society, the policy, resources, the ecosystem, and the relevance of the education, the quality of education, and how much the education can be affordable. As I said, that resources are very scarce, and for development of the resources, it needs lots of investment, and to bring down the education system, collaboration is required. So only through collaboration we can make the education system affordable today to the globe. Then, while we talk about SDGs, the education fulfills those 5 requirements, as I have understood, that empowerment, inclusiveness, interconnectedness, open-mindedness, equity, and justice for all. And if that is there in education, then it can be done. So, in Sanskrit, we all listen about this sloka every day. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. So with this objective, I think each one of us, each one of the teachers in the colleges, schools, universities today, they teach the students, they do their work with passion and commitment. I hope that we can be able to do this with proper planning and execution and strategy. So thank you all.